Don't make real estate decisions from a national mean. Now you may have seen like posts like this saying there are hundreds of thousands more home sellers than their buyers in the United States. And here's the thing, that headline, it's based on real data, but it's missing context. So nationally, Redfin, who this is from, they've reported that, that sellers are outnumbering buyers by a wide margin. And that usually means that buyers have more choices and more negotiation power, than they had during those tight pandemic, like that tight pandemic market is still in the back of our minds, right? But the national data doesn't tell you the whole story because real estate is local. It's here, it's where you're at, it's what you're selling, it's what kind of house. And here's a perfect example where I'm at, right? So according to Redfin, March 2026, the data for Philadelphia was showing that it was a buyer's market with about 35% more sellers than buyers, right? But Montgomery County here, right? We still are showing a seller's market with about 26% fewer sellers than buyers. Same region, same general region, just different market conditions. I could show houses in both neighborhoods, like both places, in the same half hour, right? So that's why posts like this, it could be misleading. Not because the data's fake, but because the conclusion people draw from it may be wrong. A national headline can tell you general direction, of the market, but it's not going to tell you what's happening in your neighborhood at your price point, with your, conditions and type of house. So if someone sees a post like that, they're going to think every seller's in trouble, and that's not exactly accurate. And if someone thinks every buyer suddenly has all this power, that's not exactly accurate either. So in some places, buyers may have more options and more room for negotiation. And in other places, the inventory can still be tight. And a well-priced house, you still moves pretty quickly. You got to think about that. So the better question is not about the national market being good or bad. The better question is what's happening locally for your specific house at your specific price point. And if you're selling, price and preparation, they matter. But if you're buying, location and leverage matters. So, you got to realize what your market is. So either way, don't make a real estate decision based off of some national average. Get local context first, all right? That's where the real answers are right there. And if you've got any kind of question about, buying, selling, downsizing, anything to do with real estate, hit me up. Thanks.